Hello, welcome to Mecaniquesportive. I'm Nicholas, and today I'll introduce the new Duster. Today we have a 130 horsepower version with a 1.3-liter engine two-wheel drive. And here we have a prestige trim. We'll start by taking a detailed look at the exterior, then the interior, and then we'll go for a road test to really see what it's like. Is it really a low-cost car, or can you really use it every day like a normal car? What are the advantages and disadvantages of this car? Let's go. So we'll start with a few numbers about this Duster. More than 2 million units have been sold worldwide. It's a vehicle that's loved mainly because of its price, and it's an SUV, which really appeals to people. Currently, the base price of this new Duster starts at 12,490 euros, which is indeed quite cheap, and that's what people like. But this one, this prestige version, with all the options we have today, will be around 20,400 euros. So it's well equipped. It's not a high-end SUV, as you'll see inside, but it has all the necessary options for everyday use. Under the hood is a 1.3-liter engine with 130 horsepower and 240 torque. Newton meters of torque, now with a 4-cylinder instead of a small 3-cylinder. It features a 6-speed gearbox and front-wheel drive. The weight of the vehicle is about 1,300 kilos once all the fluids are inside. In terms of dimensions, we're looking at a vehicle that's 4 meters 34 long, 1 meter 80 wide, and 1 meter 69 high. It's quite a large vehicle, but it's still pretty easy to handle. As for the ground clearance, as you can see here, the vehicle sits quite high, with a ground clearance of 21 centimeters. You can go over any curb with it, no problem. Also, at the front of this vehicle, the headlights are standard LED, so you have the daytime running lights right here. And then you'll have bulbs at the front. So this beautiful grille, with these little chrome inserts that are stuck onto the grille to save on costs. The big Dacia logo. In this trim, it's in aluminum color, slightly painted, and the skid plate is tinted in the mass, which will prevent when you get a scratch from having black marks on what's underneath. At the front, we also have the fog lights located at the ends on both sides, and the plate that's positioned right here. On this trim, with this colored part, we also have gray-colored mirrors, and the roof bars are also in this color. The keyless option lets you get in and out of the vehicle without pressing a button, and that's really convenient. As you can see, the side features a design typical of the old Duster. No major new features, just this large plastic part here, which really gives it a more rugged look with the turn signal repeater located here that extends all the way to the end, so that's really great. This vehicle comes standard with 17-inch aluminum wheels, and these look especially nice. I don't know if you noticed, but it almost looks like little Eiffel Towers on the sides. So it's a 5-door, so we have the old-style handles like this, not like on the new Sandero, for example, where they're fridge handles. The roof bars are practical and provide an even more adventurous look to this vehicle. And above all, the people who use this kind of vehicle are often families. It's very practical. The fuel cap is on this side, as you can see at the back. We have this little part that closes in a bit on these small rear windows, and this small spoiler that gives the car a slightly sportier look. There's a small antenna at the back, and you can add the optional shark fin spoiler, like on higher-end cars. The headlights. Now we have square headlights with this extra feature here for the turn signals, and this part will light up red. I find it unfortunate that the parking sensors are here, but the center isn't painted and it's black, which doesn't look very nice. There's also a rear view camera just below the Duster, making it very convenient. And on this vehicle, we have the 360-degree view. But unfortunately, we don't actually have the 360-degree view either. But you can switch cameras to the left, right, front, and rear. Shifting into reverse activates the rear view camera, and the front camera turns on near objects. The trunk offers 450 liters of cargo space with a flat floor underneath. You can also fold the rear seats in a 60-40 split. The trunk is easy to handle it's pretty light, and it's the same for the opening. The opening is really very easy. In the back, you'll find the small washer nozzle here, the wiper, the Dacia logo, and the model name. So the Duster here on this hard plastic part, which includes the trunk release button and the rear view camera. Also, the rear bumper, which is aluminum colored like the front, is part of this option. The small chrome exhaust protrudes slightly. So when you get into this new Duster, I have my armrest here, so I notice right away that it's well positioned. Most importantly, your hands naturally rest on the steering wheel when your elbows are on both sides. On the left, we have the window controls, the switches. So, with the 4 buttons and a kind of faux leather that's really nice and actually feels pretty good under your hands. Then there's hard plastic pretty much everywhere. On the handles, on the speakers, on the storage compartments, everywhere, it's plastic. That's normal. We're not expecting leather everywhere in this vehicle since it's mainly designed to be useful and practical. I also have the soft touch steering wheel, which is great. It's really soft, and when you have it in your hands, that's a good thing. It's easy to drive, and we'll see during the test that the steering is also very well assisted. On the left, we have the mirror controls since it's electric, and we also have the blind spot detector, which shows up. Next, on the top, we have these vents here. Well, these vents look really cheap. It could have been slightly better, but it's still hard plastic and not good, especially with all this large plastic on top here, which doesn't really look that good. Behind, we have the controls for the turn signals, the headlights on this side, the windshield wipers. This big block here is for the radio and media. You can choose your sources, adjust the volume, pause, and change stations. Behind that, there's the button to start the vehicle. And here, this screen, which is conveniently placed because look, when you have your elbow here, you can easily access the screen without any problem. You can start and adjust the volume here. The USB port for connecting Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. On this trim, we also have a small jack port and then the touch screen, which is really very responsive where you'll have access to all the information. You can activate start and stop, eco mode, the hazard lights, unlock the vehicle, the parking sensors, and the cameras. So, as I was saying, this vehicle is equipped with cameras on all sides of the vehicle. Just below, the same climate control unit as the Clio or the Capture. So, that's a good thing. That instantly gives this vehicle a more upscale feel. So, we have the controls that you can turn, and we have the air conditioning automatic climate control. It's really pretty well done. Below, we have a large storage space. You can put a cup there since there's a cup holder at that spot. And we have our 12-volt socket. Then we come to this gear lever with the same knob as the Clio. There's quite a large range of motion, but it's really very easy to handle. And it's very pleasant. It's actually quite smooth when you're driving. Then we still have on this version the handbrake. Real, physical. Below, there's a small area where you can put a few coins, a few small things. And right next to it, the speed limiter and cruise control, which are activated right here. So why put it here and not on the steering wheel since there were 2 buttons right here? Good question. This armrest, as I was saying, is really well placed. So you can remove or put it back, but it's only available for the driver. Or else, you'll have to share it with your passenger, but it may be too far for them. On the armrest here, there's also this little knob that lets you adjust the seat position for the lumbar support. It will inflate or deflate more or less. Next, we have a double storage here for a double cup holder, which will mainly be for the people sitting in the back. As for the seats, we're looking at fabric seats. Honestly, the comfort is pretty good. They're quite firm. Regarding support, I noticed earlier while driving that you shift a bit in them, and they don't necessarily hold you very well in corners, but otherwise they're comfortable. You can take a trip with them. So I spent 2 hours in the vehicle and it went well. Small sun visor, very simple, just flip it open. There's no light, but we have lights here that we can turn on if we want. The rear view mirror is very simple with no frills around it. On this side of the dashboard, we have this section here where you can put, for example, your phones, with a slightly non-slip surface. Below is the glove compartment. It's not very deep, but you can fit a few small items inside. Here, the access to the adjustments, so in height and depth. So that's really convenient for finding the right driving position. At the back of the dashboard, you have options for average consumption, vehicle status, temperature, fuel level, range, distance traveled, and more. In general, you can also display the speed digitally, not just with needles. If you want to know where the little fuel lever is, on all Dacia cars, it will be at your feet, below the seat. Just pull here to open the fuel flap. Now let's head to the back. So at the back. So the first thing I'm going to do is raise my headrest here, so the headrest, so I get in pretty easily. The vehicle is tall, which is good. The front seat is adjusted for me. I'm 6 feet tall and still have... There's only a little space left. It's not very spacious. I expected more. In a Sandero stepway, the back seat is much more comfortable than in this Duster. Storage spaces are just behind the seats, and the armrest is all plastic. Basically, the rear doors are plastic too, from top to bottom. There's nothing in leather or any comfort options. On the other hand, the headroom is pretty good. Even when I sit up straight, there's still space above my head. So I have access to the 2 cup holders here for a bit of storage. We have the central tunnel, which isn't very high, so that's a good thing. So it's a bit sloped at the back. The middle seat. All right, as for my feet, I have a bit of space on this central tunnel. I wear size 45, which just fits, but I'm not very wide and my hips touch both sides. It'll be for kids or anyone who wears size 36. Here, seat belts on both sides are easy to reach, but for this seat, you have to reach far back to get it. So that's the hassle. There you go. There's a little holder that keeps the seatbelt from moving around over there. And so you have to put this buckle on one side and the other buckle on the opposite side. So let me show you. You come in, there you go, the first buckle at the end. Next, I take the one that's a little higher up and bring it to this side. And now, normally, I should be well secured. And the advantage is that I really have a seatbelt just like the other passengers, but it's quite far away, and that's really not practical. It's a good thing that in the new Dacia Sandero, they've put them on the benches. For the benches, it's pretty easy. You pull on a little latch here, which is quite easy to reach, and I can lower them. So 1/3 here, and on that side for the other 2/3, just pull the handle. It's really convenient. We don't have an actual floor. That's flat. It rises up a little bit, but we can still store quite a lot of things in that spot. Now we're finally doing what we've all been waiting for. It's a little drive on the road to really see what this vehicle, this Duster, can do. So it's the first time I'm trying this Duster. I think it should be pretty nice. All right, seatbelt, here we go. So I have the buckle here, which is really high up. It's very convenient. The seat adjustments, so I have the height adjustments. I have the backrest adjustments. I have my little armrest here for the lumbar support. The steering wheel, which is adjustable. We have height and depth adjustments. And a little discovery I just made, I even have the heated seat. So that's an option as well. Foot on the brake, let's start. All right, so let's turn off the radio. As for the radio and so on, we have digital audio broadcasting radio and we can connect whatever we want. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, phone, USB, jack, even a small megapixel 3-player will work. So now, all right, I'm going to start. Heated seat, that's always nice. So, traditional handbrake. First gear. So the gears shift really smoothly, and the steering, which is electrically assisted, is also really nice. So here we go. We're in the 130 horsepower gasoline version, and now it's true that this soft touch steering wheel is really very nice. So we'll start by doing a little test drive right here. So we have a small road. That's not super smooth. So what we can note is that you don't really hear the engine that much inside the cabin, which is actually a good thing. I have the gear shift indicator so I can drive economically. I have the little eco mode here that I'm going to activate because I like driving in eco mode. And that's really the point with these cars. If you buy low-cost cars, it's to avoid using as much gas as possible. So we're pretty comfortable. The seats are good. They're quite firm, but still pretty good. The steering wheel fits well in your hands with both elbows on the armrests. That's a good thing. The suspension filters well. We're going to try a quick U-turn right here. Let's see the turning radius. There we go. The turning radius isn't too bad, just a bit over 10 meters, I think, between two walls. Next, in terms of acceleration, it accelerates well, but you need high revs for the turbo to spool up. We tried the 0 to 100, which you can also find in a dedicated video on the channel. At 60, we have a calm, pleasant vehicle to drive. You can hear a little bit of road noise, but really not the engine noise. That's a good thing. On the other hand, what we mostly have is the resonance, actually from all the vibrations, the suspensions, etc., that come up into the cabin. That's not the most pleasant thing, the turn signal's little sound. I like that. It's an important detail. Now the first speed bump. It's very comfortable. So we have a car that's pretty high, like we said, with a ground clearance of 21 centimeters. What's convenient is that normally you won't scrape on any speed bumps. So you can go a bit faster over a speed bump. There you go. It bounces a bit, but it's still comfortable. Let's try. Come on, put in a little effort. On a slope, honestly, the car, no problem. It's comfortable. Look here, we're really doing a bit of off-roading. No problem at all. So we have a steering that's very smooth. And it's very pleasant. In the city, the vehicle is easy to handle. So, for example, here we have a little situation where we're working the steering wheel a lot. And honestly, it's very pleasant. The vehicle handles pretty well. So, for example, by turning left and right, you can see that it's pretty responsive. There's not really a lot of lag in the middle. Usually in the center, that's where you have a lot of play, but here it's fine. It's actually pretty pleasant. So, it's not sharp at all, like a sports car, but you do know where you're taking the car. That's a good thing. Honestly, I've got a Duster here and another here. During this shoot, I saw about 8 pass in front of me. Honestly, I understand why it's such a popular vehicle. So during this test, we'll see if it's really that great. But so far, honestly, this vehicle has everything you could ask for in a vehicle. When braking. For a fairly tall car, it doesn't dip too much, which is a good thing. On this car, we have cruise control. Activate it here, and to set it to 50, just press. And now, no need to use your feet anymore. It's especially convenient on long roads on the highway or elsewhere. These days, with so many speed cameras, it's better to use cruise control. We're now leaving the city. We're going to have a short stretch at 70, so if we accelerate really hard, we easily reach 70 kilometers per hour. Here we are. Now I shift into 6th gear with cruise control, and at 70 kilometers per hour, the engine noise. Same thing. It's still almost not there. We barely hear it. Just a few little sounds. Some rolling noise, but at 70 kilometers per hour, it's pleasant. Quick test of the turning radius. So we have a very small roundabout. As you can see, it handles it really easily. And even in turns, like I mentioned earlier, the seat doesn't necessarily hold you very well in corners when you're going pretty fast. The small issue is, I wish it were more contoured. There you go, that's my personal opinion. Otherwise, it's a car, nothing out of the ordinary. There are no quirky options, no adaptive cruise control, no autonomous driving. It's up to you to do all that. Now it's revving pretty hard. There you go. I'm really the one moving around in the seat rather than the car itself, which is losing a bit of grip. I'm accelerating pretty hard. We've got a bit of understeer, but we're able to control it pretty well. Braking is fine. We don't lose the rear. The handling is pretty good. Well, we're on a dry road, but it's still pretty well balanced. The car leans slightly, but not much, which is actually good. All right, and here, yes, so we're making a direction change. It's fine. It's actually pretty good. When we get to the light, the start and stop activates. That's always a good thing. And as soon as you press the clutch, the car restarts pretty quickly. That's pretty good. So we can get going again. So up until now in the city, I'm currently averaging 8 liters per 100 kilometers. There are some traffic jams and a bit of traffic, but we accelerate a little. That's pretty good for a vehicle this size. If you want to have fun driving really efficiently, we have this little driving eco mode here, which will give you information depending on how well you're driving. If you shift the gear lever at the right time during acceleration and anticipate when slowing down, and all of that, that's what contributes to economical driving. We're going to try a little bit of highway since it's a car, I think. That will mainly be used in the city and for suburban driving, especially in areas around big cities, instead of vehicles meant for extensive highway travel across France. I'm turning off eco mode, and I instantly notice the accelerator responds differently. In corners, the handling is decent, so I'm going to stay in third gear. We're going to reach 110 kilometers per hour. We're merging in pretty well. There we go. So right now, we're at 90 kilometers per hour. I'm going to shift into sixth gear. The cruise control is set to 90. We still can't hear the wind noise inside the cabin. It's still pretty quiet. And we'll see what it's like at 110 kilometers per hour. At 110, we start to hear the wind noise a bit more. There's still some road noise, but no engine noise at all, which is good. Sixth gear definitely contributes to that. However, as soon as you pass by a truck, it's true that you can still hear it quite a bit. But don't worry, it's not like a Saxo from the 90s. The car still remains quite comfortable if you have long drives to do. In any case, at 110 kilometers per hour, we'll see just after, at 130, how it goes. So, honestly, at 130, you really hear quite a bit of wind noise. That's pretty normal. The car isn't meant to hide that. At 130 kilometers per hour, all cars are still quite noisy. The engine is a little bit present in the cabin, but really not that much. And I think that's actually a good thing. It's still quite comfortable. To tell you that you could drive for 6 hours without getting tired, that wouldn't be true. On a small road, it's actually quite pleasant. In a turn, it's comfortable, it handles well. As I said, the vehicle is well suspended. Here, for example, it's a car that can go off-road. So now I'm going to climb a little bit onto this mount. And here, for example, I'm really tilted. Here, this is straight. And here, I'm really on the side. The car's really made for this. It doesn't budge. No problem. You can go up on embankments or whatever. It didn't touch the front. It didn't touch the back. Nowhere. And yet, it was still pretty steep. There on small holes, it's always pretty suspended. Come on, let's do a good acceleration and a hard braking. Let's see how it goes. It actually accelerates pretty well. We can go for it without any problem. And if we do a hard braking, so now we're about to reach around 100 kilometers per hour. And then with a hard braking, as you can see, it brakes pretty well. It's effective. The ABS kicks in. The car stays straight and doesn't dive much, which is good. Now, let's discuss fuel consumption. So, in the city, you can get around 7 to 9 liters, depending on how you drive. Currently, at 110 kilometers per hour, I average 5 to 6 liters, which is reasonable. On the highway, you'll use about 7.5 liters, averaging 7 to 8 liters per 100 kilometers, with various roads, including some national ones. Using eco mode will lower it significantly. And likewise, if you have a heavy foot, everything will depend on your way of driving. At 90 in 6th gear, I have a consumption that's also between 4 and 5 liters. Here's an idea. We're on a national road going 90 kilometers per hour. For example, 4.3, 4.4, and 4.1 liters, that's about the total. In the city, you'll benefit from having an SUV. So you'll be a little higher up than everyone else, and it'll be really nice. So, like I was saying, shifting gears is super easy with this gearbox. It's really well positioned. It's easy to reach with your elbow on the armrest. For me, the armrest is really an essential accessory that everyone should have, at least if you use your vehicle a lot. Because honestly, not knowing what to do with your right arm except always raising your hands, well, to each their own. All right, let's try to park with this duster. Here we go. So, like I was saying, we have the advantage of having cameras all around. So, rear view camera. So, we don't have the guidance like on higher end cars, but at least we have the camera here. So there you go with the mirrors, it's convenient. And the camera, so when I shift back into first gear, switches to the front when there are objects nearby. And then, there you go, I can reverse. So once I'm parked, I can also activate the cameras right here. Check in front, behind. Also, you can see the wheels, it's funny. For off-roading, it's practical. We know where to put our front wheels, including on the left. I'm well parked, and we're now finishing this test drive. What do we think of this Dacia Duster? This model that's so popular and so appreciated, at least by the French. Personally, I really liked it. It's a comfortable vehicle. Well, it's not high-end. When you know what to expect, you're pleasantly surprised. Because Dacia, when it first came out, it was really low cost. Really very, very low end. Trying to make a product that was really cheap. And now you can feel that we actually have something quite high quality. Most importantly, for about 12,500 euros, you get a new guaranteed vehicle. Look, another duster. Honestly, it's impressive. I see dusters everywhere since I started driving a Dacia. So, as I was saying, for around 20,000 euros, you get a duster that's very well equipped with a nice finish, alloy wheels, LED headlights, cruise control, heated seats, and a faux leather steering wheel. It's not premium or high-end, but that's not the expectation. Our vehicle is light, and the 130 horsepower engine handles it well. If you live in the mountains, you might prefer the 150 horsepower version with all-wheel drive on, for example. But in any case, for the Paris region, this version is really ideal. This was Nicola. I hope you enjoyed this review. If so, feel free to give a thumbs up and share your thoughts in the comments. Whether you're buying one, something else, or have questions, it's the same. I'll try to answer as many questions as I can with my expertise. Don't hesitate to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you very soon.